knowledge on Grambo Bros. Talking about plants and how they go. Let's go. From seeds to the cure, we always smoke pure. Nothing but good vibes up in here. We blaze the ganja, keep it fire. Grambo Bros, burning desire. Learn about cultivation, step by step. You can rock out the negativity. Cannabis vibes up in here. Grambo Bros, I'm up in here.
Nothing but good vibes up in here. Grambo grows. What is up, GramFam? Good to see all you guys in the chat. Fucking, we got so many cool people in the chat. We got all the GramBorgs. Shout out to all the GramBorg members in there. And before we get started, shout out to Pig in the chat. Pig's going through it, buddy. Life is crazy, and I'm gonna start a new podcast soon, a non-cannabis podcast. Joe Rogan took Joe Rogan experience from the Jimi Hendrix experience, right? So if he can borrow from Jimmy, I'm going to borrow from him. And I'm going to create a podcast called the Josh Grambo Existence. It's not my experience, it's my existence. And it's going to be, what up, Nate C, Gramborg in the chat. Shout out to all you board members. Thank you guys for joining. It means a lot. Grambo needs a Grambo, and that money goes towards getting me an editor and cameraman here before too long. But yeah, I'm going to start the Josh Grambo experience. I'm going to talk about my experiences. Dave, my mic isn't on. It feels like my mic is on. Let me know in the chat if you can't hear me. Looks like you guys can hear me. Shout out to all you guys. Canalicia in the house. Shout out to you, girl. Cortez the Conqueror. And shout out to Chad Westport is in the house. Chad Westport, love it. Look like him and Scotty Real have been collaborating on some stuff. So go check out the stuff. Yo, Maddie Gramborg in the house. Thank you guys. So yeah, the Josh Grambo existence. I'm going to talk about my story. You know, I was down and out. I was all the way out. And you know what's funny is this plant saved my life on multiple occasions. That might be a little bit dramatic, but it also might not be overly dramatic. So thank you guys for joining. Such a crazy time. Everyone's going through it. Valentine's Day is rough, man. I had the first good Valentine's Day 10 years? I don't know. My whole life? I don't know. You know, it's so yeah, shout out to the Kansas cutie. She came and drove all the way out here to hang out, and we had an amazing weekend. She just got home not but 10 minutes ago. And yeah, super awesome. Guys, I always ask, what is going on in the chat? What are you guys smoking? I don't know. Are you smoking some of that Chad Westport posse? Are you smoking some of that Nakatomi Plaza? I'll tell you what I'm smoking on. And you know what we say. We say check your privilege, right? We say check your weed privilege. I got that Lemon G in the house. This is from the homie, the Diamond Mind. If you guys watch the Jug Dealers podcast over there, the Diamond Mind was on, and I got a little bit of hash from, and dear God, I took a hit of this Lemon G, and I had a pineapple express moment. I was like, dopest dope I ever smoked. Dopest dope I ever smoked. It was lit. So I was like, how much do you have? And he's like, I have an ounce. And I was like, no cheese curds this month. So I no cheese curd to February. I'm just dabbing. So yeah, this is awesome. We got an awesome show for you guys tonight. It's usually I have one guest and we just kind of go, but you know, the guests tonight, they're kind of like a duo over there. They are the crew from the Garden Cultivation Network. Awesome everything grow over there. They're very community centric. More than, it's hard to be community centric to like bring people in. You don't know mics. It's tough. So yeah, shout out to them for doing all this stuff. So we got C Bunny Grows, we got Mr. Organics. They are two awesome growers, two awesome content creators, and two awesome Canadians. I don't know what's going on. I don't follow the news, but there's always drama with Canada all of a sudden. What's going on with Canada, you guys? Why is everyone hating on Canada all of a sudden? I love Canada. I think it's the best.
I don't know, man.
It's probably all our snow.
Too, but
well,
probably. I think a lot
of
people probably think we're sending you guys this snow because we don't want it either, really. So, I mean, maybe that's it.
I don't pay attention to the news. Although Canada beat the United States yesterday. I'm a big Canada supporter in hockey. I'm one of those guys. What is happening? Cortez the Conqueror dropping $20 on us. What are you doing? I'm officiating this man's wedding, so I think he's trying to pay me up front.
Hell yeah.
It's a good way to do it.
Anyone coming to the DGC Cup, if you come in a week early and you're around, I bet you Cortez the Conqueror would have you at his wedding. He's coming into Denver, and I'm marrying him and his wife. I'm going to become an ordained minister. It's going to be crazy.
That's exciting.
That's cool, though. That's pretty cool.
It is.
Josh Grambo.
A weed wedding. Hell yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be a weed wedding. I'm going to marry them at the International Church of Cannabis. It's a real church. They sued the government for the right to become a church. They're called the Elevationists. It's pretty hilarious. It's awesome. So we're going to get married in the awesome International Church, and then after party at Adam Dunn's restaurant over at the Sohai Cafe. It's going to be pretty awesome.
Nice. That's dope.
Jimmy, I will marry. I don't know if this is a wedding invitation or if he's asking me to officiate. The language is no threesomes. I'm taking.
Why, Jimmy? You gotta be more specific there.
The channel seems to be going good. You guys restarted. Yes. Got the new thing going. I love the name, the Garden Cultivation Network. It's a great thing. What's going on over there? It's for most people never make it to the end of the podcast. So where can they find you right off the bat? Who are you guys?
Go ahead, buddy.
So you could find us over on YouTube under Garden Cultivation Network. We are also over on Spotify under Garden Cultivation Network. Every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, we do about an hour interview with somebody from the community. On Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern, we have Show Your Grows, where anybody could come on and show what they got growing on. We've had some amazing guests. Yeah.
Yeah, we've had some cool people on for sure.
Unlike elitists like me who only have other content creators and people I actually know, you can bring on random people. That's so awesome to see because you can learn a lot. Your average home grower, a lot of us fat cats out here, we forget the struggle out there. So seeing the real growth, you learn a lot. And that's one of the things we wanted to talk tonight on the show was random grow hacks and tips, things that you don't think about in life that because I remember I posted on Instagram one time and I had just a mechanic stool, just like a little $30 mechanic stool from Home Depot.
Oh, yeah.
And I posted it on Instagram and some guy he's like, oh, holy crap, that's insane. And he went to Home Depot right then and there, bought one of those stools, and he sent me a picture. And I was like, whoa, I take that so for granted. I've been using those stools for 15 years, every single day in, day out. So I was like, oh man, all the stuff that us longtime growers take for granted can help a lot of people. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Eh?
That's a huge back saver, man, because it gets you right to the level, brings you right down to the level of the plant. So, and if you get a lot of those stools too, they have the tray underneath, so you can keep all your tools right there beside you.
Yes.
I like those. Yeah, I like them.
Keep your scissors, keep some ties. I have one of those it's like it's like a roll of twine, like green twine, and it's got the little cutter attached to it, and so you can just snap off a little twine or little low stress training, whatever you need. Little plant tape. Yep. Yeah, and always my Fiskars. Oh, yeah. I love them Fiskars. I don't hate on hydroform.
I use them too.
I'll use.
I don't have mine out here with me, but I like the Fiskars too.
Hell yeah! So yeah, I figure we'll kick it off because I was talking with Jaron from Jug Dealers the other day, and he dropped this line that I hadn't really heard before when we were talking about trellising, and it was the grip line. So the idea of where your canopy spreads out, right? It's how far out is can your canopy be? And then there's that drip line, and where that drip line, the water all kind of funnels from the top of the plant, and then it kind of funnels down, and then it gets a lot of extra water right in that spot, and so the roots will go out and try to seek that water that's dripping off on that drip line. And it got me thinking about we can't, so that I don't think that's a very much common knowledge for your average grower, that your plant naturally can't be bigger wide than it is the root zone. It will not grow out naturally just with and that's where trellising comes in, right? And so I like I said, I got this awesome hash from the Diamond Mine, and he is an organic
Oh, yeah.
grower. You'll love this guy's style, organics, and he has the most aggressive. I thought it was trellising, but it was actually like bamboo staking, and he lays the plants like almost flat. They're only slightly above like the soil layer and everything, and I was like, holy crap. And so that's why we trellis, is to get if you have a giant wide container, then yeah, you might not need to trellis as much, especially if you use a bunch of silica. But yeah, definitely. So what do you guys do? Do you guys because I know that some people use the yo-yos. I was at Adam Dunn's grow, or as I had show taping the other day, and he showed a video of his grow, and he does the yo-yos. So he'll take the
which are
the
pretty.
grow
I like those.
yo-yos,
Those are cool.
catch them.
Yeah.
What do you guys
Yeah.
like?
So
For
I
me,
just
oh,
use
go ahead.
I
Go
just
ahead.
use bamboo sticks personally, especially because I do a lot of outdoor growing. It's kind of hard to put a net in outside, so I do bamboo sticks. Inside as well, I like to move my plants around all the time. I'm always moving them and switching them. So for me, my best has been definitely the bamboo sticks, and just stay it in. That seems to work for me.
Yes. Can I
Nice.
ask on that subject, when do you start putting them in? Because like I was talking with a buddy of mine, and she was like, "Oh, we'll put them in at this point," and I was like, "What do you do to like not hurt the root zone?" And she went, "Oh." And I was like, "Ah, yeah." It's always the thing. You don't want to just stab if you got a big old root ball inside your pot. You
Yeah.
don't just stab it in. So do you put them in
Exactly.
and just kind of yeah?
Earlier the better, but sometimes I don't even think about it and I forget until I start noticing, oh, they're tipping over. I guess I should. But yeah, I would definitely recommend doing it like during veg, like before the roots do get a chance, so that way they can wrap around the pole itself instead of just
And do you put
being
them up against
punctured by
like
the
the
pole.
wall of the? Do you put
Having
them in
them
the middle of
through
the
the.
plant, or around the circumference of it?
Around usually, yes,
Nice.
at
Nice.
Hell yeah.
the
What
edges.
about you, Ganix? What are you doing
So
to keep those those nugs up?
I'll touch on that in a second, but I have these AC Infinity square pots. I think they're 5 gallon, but it doesn't really matter the size of them. But they have loops on the outside of them, and they are the one on each corner. So there's 4 double loops. There's one at the top of the pot, one at the bottom of the pot on the outside. So those are designed so that you can put the bamboo sticks in those loops. So you don't actually have to stab them through your roots. You can put them through the loops, and then they'll hold their bamboo sticks up for you, so you don't actually have to like hurt the roots. But yeah, so for me, for my canopies, I like to use like that rubber training wire. I use a lot of bud trainer stuff, so I use the I think they're called bud huggers, just that yellow or green training wire. I use that and I tie, just kind of open the plants up a little bit. I look at my tent as one plant, so I try to get my whole tent as an even canopy. So I'll tie down, I'll use the bud clips and stuff like that. So it's very, very low stress. I don't do a whole lot of like snapping, but sometimes I will do a little bit of bending and stuff like that just to kind of maintain the canopy. But I always try to go to the lowest plant and get them all to be roughly the same height. So yeah. I don't
That's
really use a whole
interesting.
lot of bamboo. I have outside, but I try to stick more to the wire or the clips.
Yeah.
And
No
yeah,
trellis
I
for
love
me
the.
either.
I was a trellis guy my whole life, and I always used the netting, like the white mesh netting that you
Yeah.
can get from just any hydro store on earth. And man, harvesting, it's great for like, I do a double layer of trellis. It was great for like the growing of it. It was a nightmare for the harvesting of it. So I switched over. Speaking of AC Infinity, they have the elastic trellis, and I found that works
Yep.
so much better. The cloth wire, whatever it is, the string. It just
Yeah.
as soon as it like just getting it out of the package is a chore right off the bat. Laying those things flat, they just scrunch up.
And
But I know a lot.
if you
Yeah,
ever
go.
get it off your plants, if you ever get it off your plants too, like if you don't hang it up or something, like if you try to fold it nicely and everything, the next time you go to use it, it's in a knot, 100% every single time.
Chad Westport says if I didn't wear glasses, I'd lost 5 eyeballs to bamboo.
Oh yeah.
And I'll throw out a bonus hack is Scotty Reel's hack. I always will post a lot of pictures of Scott's grow. I'll sneak back there and take some pictures, post them over on realdgc.com. And he uses the like rebar caps, like from like a construction site.
Ooh.
They'll take these orange caps and put so that way you don't fall on it like Freddy Krueger movie and impale yourself.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, and they're
That
like,
is
that's
that is
really
a very
idea.
good idea.
I think he's a crazy Alibaba shopper. I think he's the only man I physically know that shops on Alibaba. I think he's like
Right.
100 for $20 or something like that. So
Yeah.
Just put a pool
So I
noodle
got
on top of it. There you go.
that's not a horrible idea.
No.
I've seen those little rubber caps that you can buy. That you can buy them in like a multi-pack. They come in every size and shape. And I again probably buy them on Alibaba or Amazon or eBay or wherever you shop. And you know, they're I think they're for something similar. They're for like metal whatever. I don't know exactly what they're for, but you can just stick them right over top of the end. So they're a little harder to see than those orange caps, but you're not gonna, poke your eye out hopefully on them.
That's the whole point. What we got here? Ping pong balls. That's also a great cheap alternative. So if you don't want to go, get all bougie like Scotty and
it's like the tennis ball over the trailer hitch trick.
Yeah.
See, stoner ingenuity, man. It's hilarious. All the little
Absolutely
hacks. I'm always amazed by bro science in cannabis growing. Is like it's like everyone hates on bro science. I'm actually amazed by it. I go, how much stuff people got right. Sure, a lot of stuff is wrong, but damn, how did you guys know all this stuff in 1979, 1985, 1992?
Yep.
Like, it's
but that's the thing. Like the reason bro science even existed was because like there was no internet, there was no way for us to sit here and have these conversations like we do now. So people had to figure shit out on their own and kind of come up with whatever they can. And if it worked for them, then I mean, in their mind, it's the way to do it, right? There wasn't a million and one ways to do things back then like there is now. So
it's getting to the point where like, I always think of it, we're saving lives, but like, I think of like some people like, maybe I'll drink bleach. We'll see if that fix something. And then we lose that person, right? But like now we know. I'm not gonna do it. So now
that'll get rid of your cold virus. Don't do it.
It's not money, I'm telling you. So there's a tip and a bonus tip. We'll go in order. What's a third tip you got for us? We're going right into it. We're going ham.
Have you ever seen the people that use the coat hangers in the corners of their tents? The plastic coat hangers in the corner? It helps the tent from like if you have like a really strong like suction in your tent, it helps the tent from like caving in on itself. You just bend them in the corner so they sit there. Like I think AC Infinity actually sells them now. Like you can buy them as a product now from their site. But it's pretty cool. I've seen quite a few people doing it, and like when we do the Friday night shows, we get to see some pretty cool, like, I don't want to say inventions. It's just stoner ingenuity, I guess. It's pretty cool.
Yes.
Yeah. I see JR Token there. That's our boy. Man, I got the people always ask me where they can get these cuts. Like they always be like, where can I get the cherry plum? And I go, JR on Instagram.
Yeah. He's such a cool dude, man. JR is awesome.
He is the best.
Go hit up Tropicana. He ships.
And actually, it's funny because Bunny and I were talking about this earlier today. I think when I met JR was after Bunny was on your show the last time, because when Bunny was on last time, you had JR on.
Yeah.
So it was after that.
That was my first time meeting JR. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all starting to blend. I do, admittedly, I put out 6 pieces of cannabis content every single week, and they're all starting to blend together, man. I can't remember which thing, but I do remember. I was like, I never do a triple guest, but somehow Bunny and JR on. How do I keep double booking you, buddy? But I'm glad you showed. Me and Ganix were talking, and then all of a sudden it was like, Bunny's available. Bring her in. You guys are the Garden Cultivation Network crew. That's sick.
Hell yeah.
Normally Sundays are hard, but because it is the long weekend, I do not have my kids this weekend. They come back tomorrow, so it worked out perfectly.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah,
So it's
just
not
like
it's not even
how do you
that
find
bad that
JR token?
you're the late show, and it's not even that bad because I don't have to work tomorrow, so it's great.
I know. I forget that
Yes.
it's so late. Like for me, it's 8 p.m. and I get my kid to bed around 7:30, or I'll exchange
Yeah.
her with my ex around 7, and then I'll come pop in here. The reason this podcast started is because I was lonely. I'd put my kid to bed, and then I'm quiet with lights out, letting her get to sleep in the little apartment, and I'd sit there and I was just kind of like, you know, wish I had someone to talk to. And then I was like, well, if I
Yeah.
just turned a camera on, all my friends are in chat and I can go hang out and I can talk to you
Oh, yeah.
guys. I can hang out with the chat, can
Yep.
hang out with Cat Alicia, can hang out with Chad Westport, all the crew.
Oh, yeah. I love that you started doing
Yes.
the members show after, too. I love that you started doing
Yes,
that. That's
yes.
cool.
And thank you, Mr. Gannix. He is a
Oh,
member.
yeah.
He's
You're
a
Gramborg.
Gramborg.
You're a
I am a
Gramborg,
Gramborg.
homie.
Yay.
I
Yeah.
am, absolutely.
So I always
Yep.
tell people, I'm on my little
Community
spiel now.
driven. Yep.
You guys are community driven. I can give you nothing but thanks for all that support. And if you guys want to become Grambor, we do a post show every single Sunday after this, and it's right next to that subscribe button. If you've already subscribed, right next to it's a little join button. We're very shadow banned, so like the homie, I think Grizz Grows, he sent me screenshots where he's like, that button doesn't exist for me. And I got a bunch of people saying, yeah, it doesn't exist. And I was like, welcome to Cannabis Media.
Crazy.
Like some people can join, some people can't.
It's so
Shout out to Crazy
strange.
Days.
Crazy. That's
Crazy
weird.
Days single-handedly added like a dozen members. I guess gift subbing is a thing. So him and LJ Jones gift subbed. I went from like 30 members to like 50 in like a week, and it's all
Oh,
because
yeah.
of those two. Yeah.
Yeah, because you can buy
Nice.
memberships for other people too. Yeah, I forgot about that. I
Yeah.
Yeah.
saw High Again do that once. They came in, bought 5 memberships for somebody. Can't remember whose show it was, but they came in, bought 5 memberships for 5 different people, and then now they're a member for at least a month. So it's pretty
Respect.
cool.
It's awesome. It really does matter. Like Scotty always says, Grambo needs a Grambo. I work for Dude Grows. I work for Jug Dealers. I have very little time to pick up a camera and go do my own thing, but I do. What the hell? See, this
Hey,
is having community members like Chunky Nugs
that's what I'm
dropping
talking
those
about.
5 gift subs. So thank you guys.
Yeah.
And I don't get a pick. One of the things, it's just random. YouTube assigns it. So welcome the 5 new members.
Oh,
And
that's
thank you, Chunky Nugs. And double thank you. He hung out with the Jug Dealers crew up in Vermont. They're out there on the Jug Dealers World Tour. And Chunky
nice.
Nugs got some actual Vermont maple syrup, like out of a tree, boiled it himself, I believe, and then sent it to me. And yesterday morning, me and my girlfriend had pancakes delivered. It was snowing, and I have no pancake mix, so we had
Yeah,
pancakes delivered from the restaurant next door, and used homemade maple syrup. It was dank as
that's
hell.
cool.
So thank you. And welcome.
Man,
Nice. That is awesome.
I'm Canadian. I don't even know how to make maple syrup. Shit. I mean, I did
Vermont.
it when I
That's
was a kid, but I mean,
as they say, Vermont is the Canada of the United States.
it's pretty cool though. I like it.
Hell yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, so I always say, what I love is it's catching on. Smoke the like button. I always have my spiel where I go, smoke that like button, subscribe if you vibe, and roll this video up and pass it to a friend. Sharing is caring.
Yeah, I
I
like that.
like that.
Or you roll it up and pass it to 2 friends, or pass it to a friend and they'll pass it on. Yep, I like it. But make sure you pass it to the left. Pass the
Because the
Dutchie
right
to the
way is
left,
wrong.
Mun.
Pass it to the left because the right way is wrong.
That's right.
Hell
That's
yeah.
right.
It's been long enough. YouTube doesn't like in the first 10 minutes for the smoky, but we're past 10 minutes in. Man, I got this lemon G. It's my white whale. What is some strain? What's your guys' white whale? What's your favorite strain each year? We'll start with Bunny.
Ooh.
Oh God, that's a good
I know, it's
question.
hard,
I
right?
think honestly, I can't say I really have a favorite. I think it depends on the mood. Depends if I want, an upper, a downer. If I want, it honestly just depends. I do like the taste of the wedding cake, though. I definitely like the wedding cake.
All right, some of that modern genetics.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm a big fan of the green crack. That was one of my favorite strains from like, I don't know, like 10, 15 years ago maybe. And then I didn't see it for a long time. And then once we kind of became legal in Canada, more strains started kind of resurfacing. And whether or not they're the real ones or not, who knows? But um, I would definitely say Green Crack was one of them. I like a
Yeah, I
good
guess
like
that's the,
sativa, I guess. I mean, I'll call it a sativa, but I mean, I don't necessarily believe in the whole sativa indica nonsense,
love it.
but I'll
Thank
call
you.
it a
Yeah,
sativa
Blessings
for
to
the
you,
sake of
Gannix. Blessings
calling
to
it
you.
something. What's that?
that's actually what I'm smoking on right now, some green crack.
Nice.
Wow.
I'm a little jealous, I'm not gonna lie.
Pass it, pass it this way. You know.
Yeah, to the
It's
left.
always
Like,
here. I'll take it. We grab it.
Think you're on
that's
this
funny.
way.
Hell yeah. It's so hard to know which direction is which. I
I
guess
know.
it's a fair
I go
question.
this way, I don't know.
If you would have asked me, like, because yeah, it is impossible to have. Even this, like the lemon G, like I was at Adam Dunn's show and I wasn't on the show. I was just hanging out getting some barbecue. They got some of the best barbecue in the city there. And shout out to Vinny over there, so high. And he, someone, I hear just like in the corner of the room, and anyone who Dunn's has the dank, it's just like he's old school. All his friends are old school. So he's like, yeah, I got some lemon G for sale. I literally turned around and I was like, who just said that? He's like, me. And I was like, I want whatever you have. And he had a pen. And I was like, oh, okay, like cool. Fuck it. I'll hit this pen. As soon as I hit this lemon G pen, I was just like, oh my God, it was
Mm,
the diamond mine. And then we had the diamond mine on Jug
yeah.
Dealers. And so I fucking saved that, like literally my damn near my life savings. I sold 2 cars. I moved and I had an old Jeep and an old Impala, and I sold them to a junkyard for like, a couple $100. And so I just happened to have a couple $100 in cash sitting there. And I was like,
Yeah.
man, because an ounce of live resin, this will last me a long time. I have a lot of dabs, but
Oh
it's
yeah.
so it's easy for me because I have it right in front of me where I'm like, oh, this lemon G. It's not. I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but it's my white whale. It's you just can't find it. No one has cuts of it. Everyone's like, oh, I used to grow that. And I go, well, you know where it's at? And they go, nope, it's
Yeah.
gone.
I used to know everybody you could get it from, but not anymore. But yeah, I got this Mac 1 rosin as well from actually J-Rats. J-Rats gave it to me. He got some one day and hooked it up. But
How about
rosin lasts
that?
me forever. Like I'm a flower guy. I'm not huge into the rosins. I'll say within the last year I started hitting the rosin a little bit more, but rosin, resin, all of it. But um I don't like to hit it too hard because then I feel like I'm not gonna get quite as stoned off of the weed, you know what I mean? So I try to like I'll hit it, I'll be all over it for like a month and then I won't touch it for like a month or two and then I'll get back into it again. So but Mac 1, man, this stuff is nice.
Shout out to
So
J-Rats. That's so cool. Like even that, like right there, community driven, smoking community stuff. Like yeah, shout out to and
oh
the
yeah.
newest member of the Gram board.
Ooh,
Yes.
Oh yeah. So what do you got, Bunny? What's the
oh
next
yeah.
grow hack you got in your mind?
Um, that's a good question. I wouldn't say
Awesome.
hack, but I would say here's a tip when it comes to pHing. Whether especially if you use a pen, always make sure to calibrate, because if you're anything like me, you'll forget. So that's why I got the drops as well, to always double check my pH. So yeah, because I've done that. So always double check your pH and calibrate your pens if that's what you're using.
Oh,
Good
man, the
point.
pH dance. I'll tell you, that's one of the things that got me. Shout out to Scotty with Recharge. That's what got me. Recharge does a lot of great things. It's like yada yada biostimulants, all the different stuff. But man, it modulates, it buffers that pH. It uses all the microbes. They all absorb. They put out their own little pH. Some are high, some are low, and it kind of finds its way
Yeah.
into the middle. And yeah, that pH dance. And definitely, as far as the pens, get both solutions. You have to get your up. What is it, like a 7 and a 4? I think is what
I
it
think it's
is.
a
And there's
7
also
and a
like an
4,
11.
yeah.
Yeah, and then there's a
Yeah.
higher one too. You don't really need the higher one. That's too high for our ranges. Like with Jug Dealers, they're a parent company. There's the 5.8 distribution, and so you're 5.8. But what I'm finding, I was not 5.8. What I'm finding is that a lot of growers grow higher. A lot of people are growing at like 6.2 and stuff, and I'm like, whoa, I never grew that high. How do you
Hmm.
guys have preferred pH? You just kind of roll with the flow. You stick with 5.8.
I
For
usually
me,
stick between 6 and 605. Again, I don't use the pen, I use the drop. So between 6 and 6.5, it's like yellow. So I tend to stick between that.
Nice.
hmm,
Hell
And there's,
yeah.
oh, here,
usually,
and for my pH up and my pH down, I also use lemon juice or baking soda for pH up and pH down. So if you
Okay.
ever want to pH up your water or pH down, that's a great something you could buy at the grocery store. It's so easy to get a hold of.
yeah.
And not adding a bunch of acid. That's what they're just acidic. The GH is what everybody uses. The blue and the orange. You know,
Yeah.
most of us have had that, but maybe
Yep.
not all of us. What do you do, Ganix? You grow organically for the most part. Is this even something you think of? Do you pH water when you go in, or
Yeah,
you just let it buffer?
I do pH my water, even organically I do. And a lot of people argue with me and tell me you don't have to, and I know you don't have to, but I started with synthetics, so I always pH'd my water when I started, so it was just something that I got into the habit of, and
Mm,
I just continued. You know what I mean? So when I'm growing organically, I usually shoot for about 6.4, 6.3, 6.4. You know, if I hit 6.5, it's not the end of the world. I don't get upset about it. It's still close enough within range. So I think it's more or less just to like make sure I'm within a range, I guess. So,
hell yeah.
but when I'm
See?
growing synthetically, which I kind of am now, well, I'm not growing anything right now, but um, I was using the hydrozyme nutrients, so I usually shoot for about 6.2, 6.3. So,
Interesting. See, right there. Like it was always to me, it was like lower P. Like the guys that taught me early in the day, it was always like between 5.6 and 6. You know, like 6.2, you're getting too high. And then as the science
yeah,
comes out, it's like, no, dude, that was way too low. I was probably locking out all sorts of things.
yeah. See, I've
And
always
shout
been
out to
told like
David
when you're
Y.
growing
He's super.
DWC or you're growing in cocoa, then you want to be right in that 5.8 range. That's what I've always
Yes,
been told.
great point. So that's where I
Yes.
came up. The guy that taught me to grow originally back in like 1997, Jesus Christ, and
A long time.
he grew in aero. You don't see much aeroponics anymore, but that was
No,
the
you
big
don't.
thing back in my day. And people use the aero cloners, and mad respect to the aero cloners, but yeah, not a lot of
Yeah.
aeroponics. You guys ever done
Yeah,
DWC? I've always I'm a Scotty Real
I haven't.
disciple, and he's always a cocoa guy, so I've always grown cocoa.
The closest I've ever been to DWC would be like self-watering trays. You know what I mean? So you're still in your soil, whatever your medium is, and then there's the watering trays underneath where they just wick. But if your roots grow through and they're in the water, I mean, it's almost kind of like an earth box, sort of. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's kind of like that half and half almost. I don't know.
yeah.
That's the
See, I
closest
grow
I've ever
new.
been. I've always wanted to, but I've never pulled the plug on it.
Yeah, it's so scary. Like it's just like I mean,
It is
like
scary.
once again, I'm a microbe disciple. I love the like Scotty got me on the sip buckets, and I use grow dots occasionally, but I tend to grow with New Millennium now. I have the employee pricing over there, so I'm able
Oh
to
yeah.
run the whole line over there. And one of the most interesting things is like everyone loves that winter frost, but so like Jaron does the most interesting thing with his, and I'll throw this out as another bonus tip. Like this is the thing about these conversations. We prepare some tips, and then it's like, oh, just conversation brings up all these tips.
Yeah,
But Jaron
exactly.
will grow.
It gets the
He
show
grows
going.
GMO, and GMO is one of my favorite strains ever. It's one of the modern strains that I think really captures that chem diesel of the old days. It's the closest to that sort of stuff. And it'll go, the cut that he has is kind of like a long flowering strain. It'll go like 11, 12 weeks. But he will winter frost the ever-loving hell out of it around week 9 and cut it down. Now it still finishes because the winter frost is a senescer. It actually senesces the plant and it cues it like, hey, life's over, time, winter's coming. That's why it's called frost. And so he gets these expressions out of GMO, like no GMO. It's like it's different,
Never seen
but
before.
not bad. You think pulling something 3 weeks earlier it would be bad. No, it finishes, trichomes milk out, get amber, everything's good, but it gets this onion funk out of it. And I was like, that's very interesting, and it's definitely not a plug for New Millennium. But if you do want New Millennium products, JugDealers.shop. I built it, and so anytime they're like, hey, the store's going good, I always get like they paid me to build that store, and I'll just wink at you guys. If you guys do want anything from JugDealers.shop, JDP10, Jug Dealers Podcast 10, JDP10. That gets you 10% off. That's our employee code. They work on stiff margins over there. They barely make any money off those additives. So if you want 10% off the Jug Dealer store, check out that winter frost. Let me know what's going on with it. Take some strains early and let me, because this is cutting edge to me. I've been obsessed with this phenotypic expression thing. Once again, to quote Jaron, he always say phenotype is genotype times environment, right? So all 3 of us are together in a room. We take cuts from a plant, right? All of us have the same plants, and now we all take it to our different place. You guys take it home to Canada, I take it home to Denver, and then we all meet up in 4 months to show the nugs, and we're probably going to get some shockingly different expressions out of that. That blows my mind.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yes, that's a good one. pHing, that's an interesting topic we could talk about. Yeah, Dab Maria, the silicium changed my life. Here's another bonus tip: whoring out the New Millennium, the 5.8, the Jug Dealer stuff. I hated as a synthetic grower adding silica. I can't get silica in without fallout. I don't know if it's the Denver water. Really? I don't know if it's how, what, where, what, why, temperature. I have no clue why. I cannot add silica. I'll put the fucking shit in 20 minutes, let it dissolve in there, mix it thoroughly, and then I put my nutrient, I put my A and B in, and it starts snowing.
So I think with synthetics, and I could be wrong, so maybe somebody in chat could correct me if I am wrong, but I think you're supposed to add silica first.
Yes.
Or maybe was it first? You're supposed to add it first?
No. Yes, you put
last.
Put the silica in first, and then you let it dissolve into your water and get it all evenly dispersed. And then the minute I put my A and B in, it just starts snowing. So that's where that silicium that Dab Marina just brought up. It's a monomer. Most silicas are a polymer, and this is an isomer, a monomer, and you can actually foliar it. And so it's one of these, it's my secret weapon. I don't put silica in anymore. My plants look like, remember when I went to Jamaica, all the plants like almost looked fake. They have this waxy cuticle membrane on them, and foliar in the silicium has got my plants like looking like that. We're back going with the Church of Cannabis Nate. He'll be there for Cortez's wedding. My grow partner and he works at the International. I have all the gear. He's got the apartment where he can grow. I can't grow in my little apartment. So we're back going. We're getting some of and that's why I brought up that's why the Jaron's GMO is in my mind. I'm getting a bunch of cuts from Jaron of this GMO. And then I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure out. I asked Diamond Mind if I could get a cut of the Lemon G, and he was like, oh, I was like, never.
So with that silicium, can you is that only a foliar spray, or can you do a soil drench with that as well?
It's great for soil as well. It's meant for that. It's totally 100%. It's super bioavailable. So whereas like the potassium silicates and everything, like if you pour that in and you don't have a bunch of microbes, if you're like doing DWC or any of that sort of stuff, it's not very uptakeable. And then that's the other crazy thing is it's like a milligallon. It's a $20 box. And, go to jugdealers.net. This is what's great about the Jug Dealers. You can go to jugdealers.net and there's a samples tab. Click samples. Put it in there. They'll send you this stuff for free, guys. It's sometimes on Jug Dealers it feels like an infomercial, but then it's like take it for free. Yeah, it's an infomercial for free nutrients.
Yep. Who else is is very like that was Hygrozyme is like that, and so is Green Planet. Both of the
It's
like I
interesting.
use a lot of
Hygrozyme
Hygrozyme. Bunny
is
uses Green
becoming.
Planet.
We've been talking with Hygrozyme over at Jug Dealers because they're a 5/8 distribution. So they'll do different, they do Dutch Lighting Innovations lights, they do the Silicium, they do the New Millennium. And so there's talks because the 5/8 doesn't really have an enzyme product of any sort. So there's talk of mixing it up. Stay tuned.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Does Green
I
Planet
like
do
that.
That
samples?
is.
I don't know. But I bet you they do.
They did. They did.
Yeah.
When the Horty line first came out, they were giving samples to anybody who would message them. But again, I'm sure that's probably limited. I'm not like 100% sure, but yeah, they're
Their
very. They've given
their
out
samples
so
were
much.
their
Yeah,
samples were
they've given out samples
5-pound
of fish
bags.
shit. Yeah,
5-pound bags of samples.
5-pound
yeah,
bags. So they gave their whole lineup, and each one was 5 pounds.
yeah.
So when they sent you the lineup, you got 20 pounds of nutrients. Like that was just more than enough for like here in Canada, you're only allowed to grow 4 plants recreationally.
Your Freedom
So
4,
if
baby.
you're following the rules, then
You'll have some for a very long time.
that'll last you like 3-4 grows probably. A while. I used it and it barely looks like I used it. It barely looks like I've even opened the packages, but I used it for an entire grow, so
Mhm.
it's good
Oh
stuff.
my God. Huh. I'm in dab heaven, you guys. I've been waiting for something like this. I moved to Denver just to follow the dank, the way the salmon just migrate. I'm just migrating.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm looking for the dank. And
Yeah,
nothing lives up to my expectations. Nothing. This shit does, and I'm fucking stoked.
nice.
That's
So is that
awesome.
like does that have like a lemony kind of a terp profile to it or
It is. It's got G13 in it, and then it's from Ohio. It's kind of got weird shady roots. Like it's the G13. They say it's a government strain that they've experimented back. There's all sorts of lore behind all this stuff, but it's this rancid gasoline. Like if you took rotten lemons and then poured diesel fuel on it, and fucking sprayed it with a skunk. It's just this rancid sweet, bitter. It's like how with the cologne makers would always say like the best colognes have a little bit of nasty in it. And I think that's with good cannabis. I think that's what we find too is I always talk with Banner on the Dude Grow show, and it'll be something like tastes like sweaty gym with like bread, and it's like yum.
yeah, or the dirty diaper or the piss smell or you know what I mean? Like there's
Oh,
always something in
Yeah.
there. There's always
yeah,
something. Man, it
rotten.
smells so good. It smells like BO. I love it. What?
Yeah, for
I hate
real.
that in my normal day-to-day life, but if I'm smoking on that and it smells like that, it's good.
Yes.
Yeah.
I smoked with Jug Dealers. This comment from Long John makes me realize there's this strain from a company called Midnight Roots. Jake Greba is the breeder, and it's called the smoked catfish. And like Gabe gives me this shit, and I smoke it, and I literally am like, that's offensive. It's like, I hate it, and let's smoke more.
Yeah, the more
You
offensive,
know?
the better.
It was so nasty. What a double D. It's just crazy how that stuff goes. So moving on, Ganix, what do you got? What's a Ganix tip you got up there? Let's keep the ball rolling.
Genetics, I think. I think genetics. I think anybody can grow, not anybody, but I mean, like you can grow cannabis and you can be successful, but if you have great genetics, your chances of being very successful are a lot higher. Like you can not forget about all the other stuff because everything's all is very important altogether, but when it comes to genetics, if your genetics suck, everything else can be on point, but they're only going to be as good as the genetics. You know what I mean?
Right.
So the better your genetics, the better your garden is going to be. The better chances you have of having a great garden, I think. And I learned that with autos. Like my auto game was trash. It is trash still. But when I finally went to genetics that were good, I finally had a successful autoflower grow. And it wasn't because I was better at it. I mean, I was still growing them the same way. It came down to the genetics were much better, and I had a lot more luck. I was a lot more successful with good genetics. So I think genetics are very, very important.
And it's never been easier. It is ridiculous. You can hit up JR Token. You can hit up Seeds Here Now, coupon code dude. And, there's just so like literally you can't throw, I have breeders handing me seeds. Me and Jaron
Right.
always joke that like if the apocalypse, we have giant seed stashes that we keep. And it's like if the apocalypse ever comes, we're going to be the guys with the dank. Like, oh, I
We're gonna be
heard the
yeah.
legends of a man who has the sticky icky, 2050.
Yep. People be coming from across the land to see Grambo for his good genetics.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, the guy that once again going back to the 90s when I learned to grow, that was beaten into my head. It was so important. Like he's just like, dude, if you start with bad genetics, you might, that was the back in the day of like, did you guys get Mexican swag in Canada? Because we always just called like brickweed Mexican swag. Didn't
Brickweed.
make it.
Yeah,
Brickweed,
I don't
yeah.
know. I don't know if we ever called it like Mexican swag, but brickweed for sure.
Brickweed.
That's funny. Yeah. Because we always make up fake strain names for that sort of weed because there'd be like the trash compactor weed and all the seeds would be all crushed, and so we call it like the brown frown or the crushed dreams,
Downtown. Yeah. Brown
Yeah,
frown.
the
I like that.
cartel brickweed. It was it was a thing. Sometimes you'd get bricks, you get like a half pound wrapped in like Mexican newspaper. There's no mistaking
Yeah.
where this shit came from. It's got 3 weeks ago's date or 3 months ago's date,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, we know exactly when this was bundled up.
I'm not gonna lie
Yellow brick
though, man.
road.
Like being in Canada, like weed has not been legal forever, but it's always been kind of like accepted almost. Like people they didn't get quite as mad at us for smoking weed in public as they might in some places in the US. Like um weed was always looked at differently, and we were spoiled because we got BC here, which
That
I
was
mean
my
some
first
places in the
kind
US
bud,
were
was
spoiled as well because
Beasters.
I got places like California and Colorado where, weed is very much high in demand in some of those places. But here in Canada, man, like before it even went legal here, it was decriminalized for a long, long time. And it all came down to, if you were nice to the cop or something, they might just take it or step on it or whatever. But I mean, you never really got in trouble for it later on unless you had like pounds of it. So we got
Mhm.
pretty spoiled with having BC here. Because I mean, like a lot of great weed comes from BC, and it's been very well known for a long time. So yeah, we were spoiled for sure.
The first time I ever saw like true like kind bud, this guy pulls this giant bud out and he holds it and he goes, "Look at that gnarly beaster." And for years I was like, "What is a gnarly beaster?" you know. And then 15 years later, I learned the history. It's like, oh, it's BC bud, the beasters.
BC Big Bud.
Wow, that's
Oh
awesome.
yeah.
It's so crazy the different worlds growing up. Because goddamn, man, growing up in Iowa in the United States where I'm from, it literally was like you pretty much drive in your rearview mirror, just like looking for cop lights, And back in my day, cop cars looked like cop cars. You know what I'm saying? You could see
Right.
them.
Yeah.
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 When I was younger, like when I was like 14, 15, 16, like yeah, weed was very frowned upon. But as I got a little bit older, more into my 20s, I guess, it was more accepted, I guess, you know. So
From the yeehaw. I'm from where Slipknot is. God damn it, we have culture. I hold that that was one of the things that propels me was watching Slipknot go from like nobody to like the biggest band ever, and I went, oh, you can like do things, like you can actually like make it, like holy shit, hell yeah.
Oh
So
yeah.
I'll throw out the next tip. So it kind of goes to what we were just talking about, genetics. You led me into it perfectly. Is Here's something that I find very, very interesting. So we've been talking a lot about like spectrum recently with like all the different shows. I was lucky enough to go over and do a Mr. Grow It episode over on
I saw
his
that.
channel, and we talked
Yes.
lighting. And so I was talking about like the things with like IR, infrared, and UV and everything. And so IR is the heat carrier, right? And that's where all like it's a non-visible light spectrum. It carries all the heat. And so I started thinking about like, because what got me started on this whole phenotypic expression thing in my life's journey was I was always baffled at where did the sour diesel go that I smoked in 2001? Like where the hell did that go? Like I can trace genetics down, like Banner up at Dude Grows. He has like a cut that goes back like you can try. Oh, I got it from this guy who got it from this guy.
I got a show for you to watch then, because I just watched a show about AJ Sour Diesel.
Oh man, yes,
He was
I
on there,
know
and
AJ's very well.
he told the whole story of Sour Diesel, and that it came from him, and what happened to it and why it was gone for so long, and it was still there, it just wasn't available.
I'm
There were
very
certain people
interested.
that had these cuts, and I think he said there was like 8 of them or something that had the original. So it was a pretty cool show. I'll have to get you the name of it, because it was
Yes.
really interesting. It was cool. But I didn't mean to cut you off. You continue.
No, through Gabe. He knows AJ. Gabe knows everybody, and so I was lucky enough to get a little bit of that story out there. But I'm always interested to hear more, so I'll have to watch that. So we'll post about that on the Instagrams over there. But what I'm saying is
Yeah.
that because like even if you know someone that you can get a verified cut somewhere and I'd grow it, it just never sang the way that I remember it singing. And I was like, what's going on? Is it genetic drift? Is it degradation? Like, what's going on there? And then I started realizing, well, it's because like we're not growing it with GH3 part under glass vented hoods with, sun systems HPS bulbs stacked together,
Yeah.
humidity high. And I started realizing
Yeah.
that inferior, quote unquote, inferior growing techniques, if you have the right genetics, are actually great growing techniques. So when I'm growing my sour diesel with my new millennium nutrients under LED lighting, that's not like Jaron says, it's genotype times environment is phenotype. And so your environment is your nutrients, your environment's your thing. So I started thinking, if you're growing older school strains, some of these chems, some of these diesels, some of these OGs, these legacy strains that we all of a certain age love, I think that you should be running your room a little bit hotter than you think. It's all about leaf surface temperature. If you take like a little IR gun thermometer and you hit your leaves, what your thermostat rating in your room, that's going to tell you like the air temperature. But if you test the leaf surface, you get a completely different temperature. Well, all that IR that's flowing down off of HPS bulbs that is not flowing down, your leaf surface temperature is actually way colder than you think it is if you're not testing it. So I'd say grab a $10 IR gun off of Amazon or Alibaba and test it. Look, and then adjust your room accordingly. Get up to the temperatures that you like, and then go a little bit higher. I think in the LED grows, and that saves you on AC as well. So I don't know. I've been thinking more about this phenotypic expression. I think if we're running old school genetics, they like their leaf surface temperature
A little
hotter. So
Yeah.
Even though your room is like, it's 80 in there, it might even be a little hot. Oh no, I'm pushing my temps up a little higher. Now that goes that shit ends around week 7, week 6.5 ish, when all those VOC terps are starting, because those higher temperatures will volatilize terpenes. So take this with a grain of salt. I think temperatures in bed should be a little bit higher, and early flowers should be a little bit higher, and then drop it down. Get it nice and cool towards the end.
And not only that, but then you start seeing some of those colors, like you were talking about winter frost. You start seeing some of those different traits that are in that plant. You start seeing the colors and stuff like that too.
It's my favorite part.
Yeah, the colors.
Yeah.
It is pretty crazy. My girlfriend got me I believe they're called a wandering Jew plant. Doesn't seem PC to me, but I believe that's what they're called. And it's like metallic silver with purple. This thing is glittering.
Nice.
It
Yeah.
glitters. I was looking at it, and that's why like my girlfriend's so awesome. I when I was out dating, I'm a stand-up comedian, you know, so I'm always working on bits. And I had this bit about like dog women versus cat women, you know, all the different like things that go in there. And she's neither. She's a plant woman. She just like she
Hey,
literally
nothing
sends
wrong
me
with that.
selfies of
No.
plants. She's like, look at this guy. So I've only grown weed in my life, and for the first time in my life, I have like 5 different varieties of plants here at the house, and I'm proud to report they're thriving.
That's
Nice.
awesome.
Nice. So you've
Although
never been somebody to grow like tomatoes or peppers or flowers, or you never really had like a garden or anything other than your cannabis?
no, I eat chicken tenders, you know.
Right.
That's it.
Oh, shit. I eat chicken tenders when I'm with my kid, but I mean, other than that, I mean,
Yeah, I eat dino nuggets specifically.
oh yeah, dino nuggets and smiley fries. Fuck yeah.
That's
For
right.
real though, like when I'm trying to get in shape and I'm working out, and I will eat Chick-fil-A grilled nuggets 4 or 5 times a week. Like literally, I walk in, there's like
Crazy.
Grambo, I'm like no.
That's funny. We just got a Chick-fil-A here like last year.
Wow. How do you like it? Have you
Yeah.
been?
I haven't even been.
No,
It
dude.
was
Waffle
so when
fries.
it first got here, the lineup was around the block. Like it was
Yeah.
huge. Like
Yeah.
you couldn't even get within like a mile of the place because the lineup was so big. And it was like, you know what? I'll wait.
Yeah. We
Can't
had
be
that with
that
Indian.
good. I mean, maybe it is though.
Well, it's pretty goddamn good. I don't know.
That's
It's
what I've
not
heard. That's what I've
waiting in
heard.
a line like that. We got what is it? In-N-Out burger here not too long ago. Same thing. Couldn't go for months because it's like I'm not waiting in there. And shout out Dad
Yeah.
Marino. Thank you for the gift sub, buddy. As a little bit ago,
Reno.
I didn't miss it there, and he got gifted a gift sub by LJ Jones, and now he's gifting, paying it forward. Shout out to you, Dad Marino,
Nice.
awesome member of the community.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's
Yes.
somebody I see in a lot of chats too. So he's another
Yes.
community man.
Yes,
That's
hardcore.
cool.
So let me see. What do
Supporting
I
all the
got here?
shows.
Another one is a that I have was this is an interesting thing. It's watering. I'm curious on how you guys would water. Here's one of my tips again as we're getting to the nearing the end of the show here. Is like we're going a little extra tonight because I got you guys. So if you guys are still got some energy, I know it's late for you all,
Oh
but
yeah. No.
yeah, we're
Oh, I'm
cruising right
good.
through. Is
Good to
watering. So
go.
I grew up on my buddy that is one of my partners in growing here in Colorado when I first moved here. He taught me you get a sump pump, right? And it has just like a regular connector for a hose. And then you get a garden wand sprayer. And then
Yep.
you just put the sump pump in, open up the wand, put it in the res. And that's essentially your mixer. So you got all that. And then you pull it out and then you can go hand water all of your plants. You know, and back in the day, my brother Tosh, as we like to say, you know, our cousin, whatever. We had 299 plant counts stacked, and so allegedly there was about 160 plants that needed watered every single freaking night, you know. And so
Yeah.
that was the only way to do it. Hand watering was out. Drippers just wasn't practical with that many plants for just a
Yeah.
home grow. And so what do you
Yeah.
guys do? I'm a wand mixer. What do you do? We'll start with you, Bunny. How do you water? You hand water? You do drippers?
So indoors, I will hand water because it's just so much easier. But for outdoors, I do use the hose. But outdoor, it is well water.
Oh, well water. See, that's interesting. And so do you filter it or do you let all that good micronutrients and whatnot get in there?
I don't filter. I just let it be, and the plants definitely love it.
Nice. And shout out to Cortez. Thank you for the $5, buddy. He says my shirt looks good. This is my work shirt from old 5'8".
Well,
Plague on
you're working.
nutrients. Shout out.
You're working
Yeah.
right now, so I mean, you got to have the work uniform on.
No,
That's right.
I really am honored to be involved with New Millennium. They're creating QR codes for all their bottles, and it'll be Jaron explaining it, and I will be filming all those videos, editing all those videos, and creating the QR code myself, and it'll be printed on every single new Millennium bottle. And I'm like, that's just cool.
Nice.
I like as
It
a
is cool.
young stoner, I have a lot of reverence for this game and for like a thing like a little old Iowa boy. And that's a stupid thing. Oh, you're the guy that made the videos for the kid. That's cool.
It is cool. I think that's dope.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool.
Come on up, Jay Dales.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah. So I don't know how much do you guys got? What you got any more there, Ganix?
We can talk about solo cups.
Let's talk.
A lot of people start their plants in solo cups, and as they get bigger, they get top heavy and they like to fall over because they take a lot of water sometimes. And I know a lot of people do like the solo cup grow offs and stuff like that. So if you want to stop them from falling over, you can cut your solo cup, a second one, and you can set the other solo cup in it and upside down and create like a base. So it's as wide as the top. You know what I mean? So you cut the solo cup about halfway down, your second one, turn it upside down, set the other one inside of it, so you create like a wider base on there, so it falls over less. Because I don't know about you,
And
but
another
like when I growing in solo cups, like you gotta water them a lot, especially when they start getting big, or
yes.
they get super light and they want to fall over. So that's a little tip, I guess.
And another thing with solo cups, if you put like a clear one and you put your plant in there and then you put the clear one in the red one, you could always take it out and look to see where your roots are.
That's great.
Mhm.
I didn't learn that one until later in life, and I was like, I felt like a fool. I was like, so yeah, she says you put in
If
a
you're
clear
like
solo
me
cup.
and you love to see the roots, yeah. You
Because
just
it's
pull
so
it out.
cool
Oh,
to have
okay.
someone like a clone or something, cutting, and then you pop it down. It's like, ooh, yeah, look at that. That's sexy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
since
another thing too.
Cortez is.
Clones, like
Yeah.
there's so many different ways to clone too. Like, what's if you were gonna clone Grambo, what's your way of doing it? Like, what's your go-to cloning method?
Just the standard. I just use my Fiskars, wipe them down with some alcohol. I use and abuse my plants. These things are hardy.
Yeah.
Cannabis is one of the most aggressive. It's a weed, it's aggressive
Oh,
out there. So yeah, I would always just chop it with my Fiskars, chop it a little bit lower than your actual clone would be, and I throw them in a cup of water just to prevent any sort of air bubblage. And then I'm a Clone X guy. That's the gels is usually I'd soak.
yep.
So even though I grew in cocoa, right? So this is kind of an interesting core. It's funny. No one's ever asked me that, Ganix. This is actually interesting because I do it a little bit interesting, is that I use rock wool cubes to clone in. So I take my clones out of the cup. I cut the little 45-degree angle of where I want it, dip it inside my rooting hormone. Then I put it in a cube and I actually transplant those cubes right into cocoa. And so I let them get all rooted up and feeling good. And you never know that, and bury them deeper, leave a little leg on it. If you're ever going to try this method, you leave a little extra leg on it so that way you can bury. You don't want the cube at the very tip top. You want a little
Rock
extra
wool coming
stem.
out. Yeah, I've seen that
Yeah.
before where you can still see like the top of the rock wool sticking out of the whatever
Yeah.
medium they're using, whether it's cocoa
And so
or
make
soil, whatever.
sure it's buried down there. It's a great spot for like fungus gnats and all sorts of shit to breed. So you want to make sure your tops are as solid as possible. And then I would just put them right in the cocoa. You'd never even know. I'd forget there was even rock wool in there until I did knock out the root balls to reuse my pots, And that was pretty much it. It's always simple. I was never a master cloner. I'd always seem to lose at least one or two. I'll talk to a guy like JR Token who hasn't lost a clone in 3 years,
Right.
and maybe
Yeah, right.
longer, probably ever. Who knows? That
But
guy's
that's because he's JR. I mean, he's JR. I mean, there's nothing more you can say about him. He's JR. His plants look
I met
fucking unreal.
JR in real life for the first time in 2017 at the Dude Grows Cup. I went as just a person. Me and my buddy Sean, we bought tickets as just normal people, and we went. And JR Token was bud tending. He was standing there stuffing oneies for everybody, and it was like just a weird thing. My buddy Sean was like, he's like, "Hey, go Dude and Scott aren't talking to anybody. You can go talk to him real quick because I was a super hardcore, and I literally said to him, I was like, nah, I don't want to meet him like this. I'll meet him I'll meet him when it's right.
Yeah.
And then cut to all these years later. So I always think of that 2017 Cup of like, what a weird life is so weird. And that's what I started the show talking about our buddy Pig in chat. He's a little bit down, and it's like, bro, life, you don't know. You just don't know, man. The number one thing, it sounds ridiculous, right? Here's my number one grow tip and number one life tip is that it's all about attitude, man. Like if you expect bad things to happen, bad things are gonna happen. And if you just and I don't mean like the secret, like just hope and pray that things get. I mean legit.
Yeah.
Believe it, man. Love yourself. Love the things you do. I literally put a note right before my whole life changed. And I met my new girlfriend and everything good. I wrote in a note in my phones of my work notes, and it just says, "Had some fucking self-respect."
Absolutely.
You know?
I truly believe that life
100%.
can be super difficult if you life is what we make it. You know what I mean? Your day is how you make it. If you wake up in the morning and you're like, today's gonna suck. Well, today is gonna suck. You
Yep.
know, but like you said, if you have a little bit of self-respect and love yourself before you love anything else, life can be much better. I agree.
Yes.
It truly, truly can. So yeah, that's great. Freaking yeah, we've cruised past an hour, you guys. This went faster than I could have imagined. I should have known having I love you guys. We always talk about this. I consider myself an honorary Canadian. I drove a Zamboni for 7
I
years.
agree.
You are.
Use the term A correctly. I even dropped an A on you guys earlier, and I just let it go.
You know what? I didn't even notice it because
No.
you're pretty much Canadian. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, like you said,
Brett's
you drove
Canadian.
a Zamboni, and my nickname for you isn't Grambo. I don't call you Grambo. I call you Gramboni.
Gramboni.
That's gonna follow me for the rest of my life. But I love it. It's hilarious. And I learned. I remember we had a Canadian tournament, and Sidney Crosby was playing at my rink with Shattuck St. Mary's high school. It is a high school tournament, and they beat the ever loving hell out of this Canadian team. And then when the Canadian team left, there was a hat sitting there, and everyone was gone, so there's no getting it back to them. They're going to Canada, you know. And there's this hat that I learned was called a toque, and I put this toque upon my head, and in that moment, I became Canadian.
I think so.
That's the moment Grambo changed Canadian.
I do have a different view on the toque, I think, than maybe some Canadians do. I feel like the toque is the one that you fold. Some of them got a little pom-pom on the top. I feel like that's a toque. But the one that doesn't fold, I still call that a beanie.
The toque I refer to, it's got two ear flaps and a little ball with two strings coming down. And I'll tie it above my head, and then when it gets cold, I'll untie it, pull it down, and tie it under my chin.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep, that's a toque.
I'm full on, baby. I'm official, baby.
Yeah, you are.
And for real, you know the Canadian flag with the weed leaf? It's not, I'm going to get it in here. In honor of you guys, I'm going to get that flag put in here and so I can show it for the after show. I actually see it under my bed. So yeah, I love Canada. So respect to Canada, respect to being able to mail, respect to the Freedom 4. Glenn always calls it the Freedom 4. Do you guys actually call it the Freedom 4?
I mean, I have heard people call it that before, but I mean, I don't. I still don't feel like 4 is enough. Like I'm very thankful for the fact that we can grow 4, but it's not enough. I don't know about you, but 4 plants to my next grow is not usually gonna last me. You know, so and I like to do more of a perpetual. I like to try to do the perpetual thing, and with only 4 plants, you can't do that.
You can't. No.
When they call it 4 plants, that's like a rooted seed. A germinated seed counts as a plant. If there's a root, it's a plant. Yeah. So I can't germinate 4 new seeds and have them getting ready for when this one's done. It's 4 plants in any stage. It doesn't matter what stage they're in. It's 4. So it's tough.
That's brutal.
But I am thankful for that.
We have the same law, the same rooted law, but we get 12. And I feel like 12 is about the minimum where you can exist. It's like, dude, we have a flower, a veg, and a propagation. Like, work with me here,
Yeah,
man. God
To
damn.
me,
So
that's
that
exactly.
way
four
we can do
plants. To me,
you can
that's
do
a true
4
four
and 4.
plants.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
exactly. To
exactly.
me,
That's
that's
a
a true
true 4
four.
plant. I think,
Yeah.
yeah, we should have a flowering law, you know, like something like that. You can have 4 in flower, and then the rest is whatever the hell you want.
Yeah,
Right, I agree with that. Yeah.
that
You
would
know,
be
Not allowed
more
to
than
harvest
fun.
more than 4 plants at a time or have 4 plants ready to harvest, I that I
Yep.
agree with, for
well,
sure.
so C Bunny, you are one of the illustrious members of the community to have their original account deleted. So I believe you're C Bunny
I did.
2.0, right? What's your
Sea Bunny
Instagram?
grows too.
Sea Bunny grows too. Yes, it's a
Yes.
tragic thing. And then I bring you up first because I have to bring up Ganix. You are a newly initiated member of the Deleted by Instagram crew. Like last week.
I
Yeah.
I am I am sort of. I mean, this is now my 7th account.
No,
So, yeah, this
you're
is my
serious. 7
7th
accounts.
Instagram account. Yeah. So, I mean,
Well, like my
I'd
fourth.
have, like, 1,000,000 followers now because, like, I mean, every single time I lose my account, it's got, like, 3, 4,000 or whatever. I think I had, like, 4,500 or something on this one, and I lost it a week ago.
Damn. Well,
So,
go follow
yeah.
Papa Grows. I don't know what your Instagram handle is, Papa Grows, but go follow Papa. Someone give him a follower. God damn it! It starts
Or a hug.
slow. Your first
Give 'em a
your
hug.
first 100 is the hardest. Your first 1,000 is brutal, and then it starts speeding up after that.
So, one thing
I
about
mean, it
Instagram that
sucks.
I'm good.
It sucks losing your followers, but to me, I think the worst part of losing the account is losing all the pictures. If you didn't
Memory.
back it up like me, you don't think, so all the hard work, all the words that were put in the post, it's all gone. I think that
Yeah.
that to me is the hardest to deal with, we'll say.
We'll I'll throw a little mini bonus tip right at the end. If you are a cannabis grower on Instagram, go to your profile page. There's we call it the hamburger menu, the little 3 lines, and then click that
Yep.
hamburger, go all the way to the bottom, and there's a thing that says account status, and you can go in
Yeah.
there and just see where you stand. Because we always talk about shadow banning. Go under account status. They'll tell you, no, we're shadow, but you're not deleted, but you're shadow
Yeah.
banned. We're not recommending
Yep.
you. Cortez the Conqueror. It's like Cortez the Conqueror with a K.
Yeah,
You have to
type the
type
whole thing.
every letter, every
Yep.
For it to
goddamn
show.
letter. It's ridiculous. So, and you're what,
It
Mr.
is.
Dot Ganix, correct?
Mr. Underscore Organics now.
Underscore. Damn it.
And
So,
the other stupid thing about Instagram too is like you can't rebuild your account. Like they don't let you. You follow a certain amount of people. Like this has happened to me a couple times since I've remade my new account, where you're looking for everybody and you're trying to follow everybody back, and then all of a sudden a thing will pop up and say, "We're sorry, but we're trying to protect our community," and basically they think you're a bot because you just followed so many people. So they think you're like a
We're
fake
sorry,
account.
you're being too social on social media.
Right. So like this happened to me today. This happened this morning. My account got suspended this morning because I'm going through and I'm looking for people and I'm following people back, right? And so my account got suspended and then they'll tell you um type in your email address and we'll send you a code. So you type in your email address, they send you a code, you put the code in, and then they say, now type in your phone number and we'll send you another code. So then you have to do that. And then they sent me another code. And then they go, okay, you're good. You're back on now. Like, what?
So dumb.
Like, are you kidding me?
man,
So if
it's
people don't want to give their phone numbers and stuff like that, you know what I mean? They might not get it back at that point because they think you're a bot. So it's stupid.
it is so tough in this industry, but all of it, I always tell the story to all the content creators. I say, I was kind of a pro poker player back in the day. I paid my rent through playing poker. And in 2003, there was a poker boom. And if you look at all the most famous poker players, the people who were famous in 2003 are still the most famous, even amongst the top players today. And so if
Yeah.
you are there when the bubble pops, you're there forever. So you guys, you are a cherished member of this community from your guys' old channel and all your roots all the way up to this new. Let's find this here. there we go, found the button. The Garden Cultivation Network. You guys got to go follow these guys. You not only get awesome content and awesome community access, you yourself might get on and show your grow. It's one thing, like over on realdgc.com, we have the dank nug section. We encourage everyone, go share your dank nugs. But you guys straight up show those nugs in fucking 30 frames per second. It's 1080p. That's rare amongst the community. So if you like my channel, if you like Dude Grows, if you like Jug Dealers, you're gonna love the Garden Cultivation Network. They're true community members, and I thank you, especially Ganix, GramBoard. We had a lot of memberships. I think we got 6 new members, 10 new members. I don't even know.
You got a bunch tonight.
Come out to me.
You got a bunch tonight.
Yes.
I'll see you guys for the post show after this.
Hell yeah!
Thank you so much for having us on.
Yes, I appreciate it.
Always a
so follow
pleasure.
C Bunny, follow Ganix, and follow both of them over at Garden Cultivation Network. So thank you guys, and
thank you.
Yeah, that's it. So once again, subscribe if you roll this video up and pass it to a friend, and smoke that like button. Thank you guys so much. If you want a t-shirt, GRAMBO.shop. I always forget to plug my store. It's a pretty awesome merch that you guys can get over there. So yeah, GRAMBO.shop. Join the GramBoard. I love you guys. Thank you for all the love. And I'm healing up well. Update on my surgery. I'm doing very, very well. I feel great. Tomorrow is week 3, and I'm feeling good. Shout out to our buddy Cannabis Vibe, who just popped in at the perfect timing, because we always end with Cannabis Vibes. So you guys know what we say. Nothing but good vibes up in here. Grambo Grows. Love y'all. Bye.
We're dropping knowledge on Grambo Grows, talking about